Welcome. Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you're watching this or the time you're watching this playback. But thank you so much for joining Mom Body Mastery. My name is Dr. Erin Wheeler. I am an executive leadership coach, but I also have a background in biology and my research delves into cognitive psychology. So on this show, I'm combining everything that I love and am passionate about in order to help you be a top performer at everything that you do. And so, of course, top performance helps us to live better. We're more efficient in our personal and professional lives, which helps improve our quality of life. So thank you so much for joining. And today's topic is about mental toughness as we are on the 17th day of the year. I think my brain is on the it's on tomorrow. No matter where you are in your goal setting mindset, if you made big plans to do things this year, or you just kind of taking it day by day, or you are having New Year's resolutions, or you are still kind of continuing on building from 2023. I know everybody is thinking about, what do I need to do with myself, whether it's very intentional and strategic, or it is very something that's heavy on your mind and you're thinking about. And some of my conversations or some of my thoughts are just thinking about different things, whether it's in the news or reading articles. I really wanted to talk about building resilience. Another reason why this topic came up, I think, is important, as I am in the middle. We're on our third day of my 5-day goal setting challenge. And I didn't make the challenge to be just about making goals. You can do it in 5 minutes, but I really wanted to dig down deep into, why can't we accomplish our goals, or why can't we change, or why can't we make the pivots we need to make in life? Why can't we get out of our funk? Why can't we get unstuck? Why can't we evolve? Why can't we grow? Why can't we change? And it all has to do with mental resilience. So I've done a lot of things. If you know me personally, I've written books, I've built podcasts, I have created a nonprofit. I am very deeply involved in my church and with my family. I've accomplished some things, and so a lot of people, especially if they know me from childhood, know that I've been the 4.0 student, the valedictorian. So they look at that and say, "Hey, things must come easy. Oh, you're doing big things. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you." All of those things. But when I hear those things, I kind of, I'm learning how to take compliments, but all the while I'm thinking, I hope they know that this doesn't come easy for me. As a perfectionist, I do tend to have anxiety at points, or anxious moments. I've learned how to control them so they won't control my life. But building mental resilience is what's gotten me through. And it wasn't developed overnight. I wasn't born with it, but it's something through faith, family, all of those good things have helped me to do. But it's helped me to be right where I am today. And when I study the greats, and when I study athletes or millionaires, or people have done big things or overcome major triumphs to really succeed, and people think, oh my God, that's mind-blowing. And then in the hip-hop culture, it's always the Illuminati that plays a part when people think it can't be done, and it's done. It's, oh, you sold your soul to Illuminati. And I hate when people say that, because we as human beings, humanity, we have a possibility to do great things, but we cannot get out of our own way, which includes our thoughts. And so I want to share with you today about building mental toughness. In my book, Live Wiser, I have a chapter called Don't Just Exist, or Living versus Existence, living versus just existing. And part of the way that you just don't exist on earth is that you have to be able to overcome challenges and triumphs. And we all know people that are older, have big ages, really big ages, that have been dealt the hands of life, and they just kind of laid there and took it. And now they are jaded. They're the people who say, you ain't got to do all of that. Why? You just need to be satisfied with where you are. You just need to be satisfied. That's a good job. You don't quit that job. They're the people who've been so jaded in life. Don't listen to those people. They haven't been meant to. They seem strong and practical and real, but in all actuality, they've just built up this hardcore because they haven't been able to overcome things that in their life in the past. So don't listen to those people and don't be those people. I want you to be mentally tough in 2024. So what is resilience? So resilience is defined as ability to bounce back from setbacks. And if resilience, if you look at interviews, my favorite thing to do, I just talked about this to one of my friends, that I am always on YouTube. And when I looked at my bills and trying to figure out how to cut and where am I wasting, I realized, y'all might talk about me a little bit. I realized I was wasting Netflix. I mean, there's certain shows, but movies and things that you like move to other platforms. So I found myself gravitating to other things. And when I looked at everything, I was on YouTube because I spend so. She was like, "Why? How are you on YouTube?" Like I'm like I'm always doing the interviews. I'm always on podcasts because I like to hear people outside of their natural music at like their natural profession. And so one of the interviews that I was like, ugh, okay, let me give them a chance. With Sexy Red. I will probably never ever listen to her music, but Sexy Red really, like, I wanted to hear how she overcame challenges, how she got to where she is, how she thinks, how, like, I wanted to hear her responses. And so yes, I watched the Sexy Red interview, but I also watch interviews of people that I may not necessarily agree with, just to figure out how they think, because I want to figure out how did you overcome where you were to get to this point. And I want to kind of like hoping that they will continue to use those strengths. So the importance of resilience: life is gonna life. And one of the sermons that changed my life forever, because we all think things should come easy. We look at other people, oh, she has this, but you never know what they did in the background. One of the things that changed my life was a sermon from my bishop, who's now passed away. He taught about the reasons that we have challenges or problems in life, and he gave a very practical list, but it really showed that we really can't escape it. It's either signs of the times, it's either human error on other people's part. A lot of things that we, even getting mad at the grocery store, somebody may have made a mistake. But there's all sorts of things of why things happen, but we can't escape them. The only thing we can do is how we respond and how we overcome. We can't avoid them. We can't avoid the challenges. And many of us avoid challenges and discomfort because we just don't want to be in that place. We want it to be easy. It won't be easy. I gave a pep talk to myself 9 months ago. I was like, Erin, you're going to have to try a lot of things many different ways, and it may not come quickly. You're going to have to be patient, keep being consistent, building your audience, focusing on one thing in order to grow your business. And I was like, okay, Erin, why? What is it that you're really afraid of? And when I got down to it, I said, I really don't want to go through all of those trials and trying this out and trying this and trying this combination and standing back and looking at and trying this again. And I'm like, well, Erin, is it really going to hurt you to try more than one way? No. Is it really going to like physically harm you? No. I just don't want to do it. So one, for me, this is for me. I was like, okay, are you lazy? A little bit. I do want to come quicker because I'm tired. I am tired. It's been a long journey to get here. I'm tired. Just one of those stories. Hey, I made $1 million in 3 months. That's never the case. Even if you see it on social media, it's never the case. They are going to tell you what they did, but they're never going to tell you the million ways that they tried and figure that one way out. So I said, okay, but what if I fail? Okay, what if you do fail? You know people that fail and tried again. You read the books, you listen to the podcast, a real millionaire, $1 million businesses who once failed and got back on their feet to grow. So, failure is not really, it's okay. People have done it and made it out. So what is it really? Well, I don't want to fail in front of people. Right then it was ego. So between the discomfort of waiting and trying, the energy that I hadn't even experienced, but the thought of it, I was like, oh, I want to do it. And then the ego is saying, well, what if I fell in front of people? What if, like, don't take yourself seriously. If you fail, people are probably not watching because a lot of people may not even be checking for you and they have their own problems. So, those thoughts, that's how I'm able to stay mentally resilient, able to bounce back because I've been able to diagnose the importance of it. And so for me, I know one way that I can not be as resilient is those thoughts. And I've nailed it down. And when I tell myself that it's going to take too long, it's too hard, what are they going to say? What are people going to say? I go back, it's ego. That people don't care about you. Do what you're going to do, try it. If it fail, oh well, pick yourself up, try again. You know it's been done. That's what all the greats did. You studied them, move forward. So resilience is really important to success because success is not an overnight thing. It's not going to come easy and it's not going to come without challenges. Success comes when you're able to overcome the challenges, overcome our own mental uh, natural systems that keep us back from stress and from danger that's not even real. So in order to be successful or high performer, you have to try, put in the effort, and not shrink and not let challenges stop you. So what is the science part of this? Because that's a little bit why I'm here. So the science part really has to do with neuroscience. And I didn't plan it this way, but all three of my episodes this month has to do with neuroscience. And so our brain has the ability to change and evolve. Our brain has the ability to evolve, which is a good thing. It also has the ability to adapt. So if our brain has the ability to adapt to challenges and to stress, our inherent way of adapting to challenges and stress, our brains are already encoded to say, hey, every challenge and stress, we're going to act like we are running from a dinosaur, fighting a bear in the wild, trying to find their food, chasing animals for food. Like that's how our bodies are naturally encoded to adapt to challenges. It's going to say, stop, there's a lion. There's a lion over there. Don't go over there. We don't have to do that anymore. And so, any type of stress or challenge, our brain encodes it as it's physically going to attack us and kill us and endanger our life. That's not true. The discomfort we feel, even for me going online and being online, I'm going to continue to be transparent, authentic. Like, Aaron, this is not killing you. One bad live or one technical glitch or one of this is not going to kill you. My brain says it will. My brain is telling me that it's over. It's done. Phone at home. You're a goner, right? But in reality, it's not even that. So we have to retrain our brain to override our natural thought processes as it relates to stress and challenge. And one of those things, when we do have stress and challenges, when we see something or we think that it's the challenge, we don't even have to see it as a challenge. Once we see it, think about it that it's a challenge and it's going to stop us from doing whatever, then our bodies says, oh, she thought it was a challenge. What do we need to do? All right, troops, come on. She's seeing the challenge, the stress. She's stressing herself out. So at that one thought that you process as a challenge, your body goes into overdrive. And that overdrive sends signals to your hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, and it gets you ready to fight a bear, but the bear's nowhere to be found. It's really literally in your mind. It's not real. And every time I talk about this, I go back to Hangover 3, where uh the line is, but did you die? Like, I didn't die, and that wasn't even a real threat. All the challenges we go through are not real threats. I don't care if it's to your job, your livelihood, anything. It's not a real threat. It's really just imaginary. Your ego doesn't want to get hurt. You don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want anybody to talk about you, give you bad advice. You don't want to fail. You don't want to try because you really want to come easy. You're tired. All of those things, those are not real. Those are things you can actually overcome. So when we have this adrenaline and cortisol, it sends our brain into this physical, we have all the blood rushing to everywhere except our brains, and we don't use our logic. We can't think about options to get out. And we are in full panic crisis mode. And when your brain spikes in cortisol and adrenaline, like you're running from a bear, like the mama picking up a car off her baby, I think that's happened. It could be a myth. But any all of those signals are like your brain, the brain doesn't is not there. It sends all the blood rushing to other parts of your body because you have to get ready to run. So that's why your heart's beating really fast and you get warm and you have all of these symptoms when you're even stressed about a challenge that may or may not be actually present. And when these hormones are triggered, you're not thinking. There's no other options. Your creativity is gone. Your innovation's gone. You can't problem solve. Like one of my old bosses used to say, you can't think your way out of a paper bag. I'm smiling because someone's online who probably heard that person say that. But you can't think. And so when you face challenges or anything that may deem a challenge, you have to take a step back. I breathe, I go and do something else. I redirect myself. I don't try to solve it right then because if I try to solve it, there's going to be no way out. I say, Aaron, it's probably not. You're probably either tired, hungry, thirsty. Don't try to solve any problems when you're like that. And definitely when you're stressed out. You have to figure out a way to take a step back, even take a nap. I take a nap. And then once I take a nap, I have all the ideas in the world. And I'll be like, oh, it's not that bad. All I do is call them. It really isn't that bad. Right. But we're always, once we get into that mode, it's hard to get ourselves out. And so, how do you cultivate mental toughness? So, I'm definitely going to give you some mental and physical ways to help with mental toughness because it's all about mind body mastery, right? So, one way is to really shift how our thought patterns. So, shifting our thought patterns, meaning fixed mindset, I'll give you some qualities versus growth mindset. Thought mindset is all about not just one thought, but a pattern of thoughts that occur over the years. You can probably think about how you were thinking as a teenager and how you think now is probably the same, right? Because there's certain things that we can't get out of our own minds because of certain experiences. Fixed mindset people, I'll give you two that has to do with mental toughness. One, that run away from challenges. That's never been my thing. Not a whole lot. It may take me a little bit to like, oh, I got so much going on. I feel like dealing with this. But if you give me a problem that seems big, I'm going to get a little bit excited and come competitive to say, I'm not going to let this defeat me. And that mindset is growth. So fixed mindset, run from challenges, growth mindset. I'm not going to let you defeat me. I'm going to overcome you. The other part of a fixed mindset that has to do with resilience is how you even respond to challenges. Do you find a way out? That will be growth. Or do you just say, forget it. There's no way out of this. I'm going to stop. So you have to shift your mindset from fixed to growth. If you actually say, hey, I'm not going to let this defeat me, your brain actually creates a pathway that says, okay, let's go to some creative options. It actually creates a pathway that allows you to start thinking creatively and turns on the problem solving part of your brain. However, if you're fixed, you say, there's no way out. I don't feel like dealing with this. The brain is totally going to shut down and go into crisis mode. Another way to cultivate mental toughness is embracing your challenges. So the way to embrace challenges is that you need to one, see if anybody else has dealt with this and how they overcame it. The how part is going to be more important. It's not the business, like getting in your business. I want to learn the how. So when I'm dealing with stuff with business, I actually wanted a coach that was going to tell me, okay, you had a failed launch. How did you keep going? What did you do? And the answer actually was nothing. She just said she kept going, which was enough for me. She's like, I did nothing. I just kept putting it out there. Hey, it worked for you, it can work for me. And so you have to embrace challenges by being associated with others and learning from others of how they overcame it, and not comparing yourself to them, but really listening for the challenges. How did they think? What did they do? What resources did they use? What did they tell themselves to overcome it? That's going to be really important because you have a comparison feature, not the success, but the strategy part. And you have to build your confidence. One part of being having a growth mindset is knowing that anything that I need, I can learn it and develop it. Natural talent, a natural ability, that's no such thing. Everything that we have, any talent can be honed, cultivated, and strengthened over time with input and effort. So for me, I am, well, I do feel like I'm tired of school and I'm tired of learning. I realized that even a PhD has a shelf life. It's collecting dust if I don't continue to look at the research and learn new things. Everything has a shelf life. You have to learn it. And so right now I'm learning software. I may even start learning how to do social media ads, which I hate, but I know one of my good friends who actually sat down and do it. His business is thriving, but he took the time to pay for a training. He took the time to learn and to hone his craft, and he took the risk of learning it on his own, and he's doing really well. That is something that I'm working to overcome because again, I don't want to put in the time. But that is the way to build mental toughness, is actually learning that I have what all that I need to do anything I can. And whatever I don't have, I can learn. It's never a she has it, she's smart, I'm not. You need to realize that a majority of smart people read a lot, they practice a lot, they're not scared of challenges, they're not scared of the test. The test for us is like, okay, tell me how well I did. All right, come on. It's an 80. All right, I need 20%. What's the 20% I missed? Oh, okay, I see. Now I'm gonna shoot to 100. Can I get over 100? So it's a when you see those people who are high achievers and you feel like, oh, they're just really smart and they get it. No, it's a lot of hours if we're doing stuff that most people don't even want to do. We find joy in learning. We enjoy the process, the journey of saying, oh, um, I missed this, or I can't get, I wasn't answering the questions right as I was learning, and I want to do better in this. Like we enjoy the journey, and the test is just the icing on the cake. You have to enjoy the learning process in order to be mentally resilient. That's learning from others, that's taking feedback and criticism. Don't take it to heart, don't take it personally. Listen and actually use it as part of being mentally tough. Is because if you never know where you need to grow and evolve, you'll always stay where you are. So, what are some things you can do every day to improve it? Manage your stress. Don't make any tough decisions in when you're facing challenges or crises, because that's gonna automatically put you in that the brain telling the brain no and not creating any options. So, if you are stressed, you can't think. Can't think clearly, can't come up with solutions, you can't be innovative. And so manage your stress. Not It is deep breathing. I do work on my deep breathing and really getting quiet and silent, cutting off all of the any sensory input. That's one way. But the other way is to make sure you are eating well, you are hydrated, and you're exercising, because those are going to put you in a place where the brain is going to just be creative and innovative, and you're able to think outside of the box and not see the challenge as a bear. So what about in the workplace? How are you resilient in the workplace? Handling setbacks at work, you should definitely still take those same things, is no different, but really be open to feedback and feedback from trusted others. So not just your boss, from others. Listen to what they tell you. If they say you're not communicating, if they say you're not doing it, taking the input, filter it, apply it, and do it. Maintaining work-life balance is super important for resilience in the workplace. Again, it's that stress management. It's the mind-body connection of you shutting off, getting proper rest, doing things you enjoy to restore your energy. That way you can handle challenges at work better, and you can actually be the clear-headed one in the room instead of being the one that's running around the office yelling that it's on fire. We all know that there's people doing that in workplaces where that happens. You can actually be the leader and say, hey, stop it, calm down. This is what we're going to do. But if everybody's stressed out, burnout, tired, hungry, malnourished, everybody's going to think the building is on fire when indeed it is not. And you come out on top as a leader and you get the evaluation, say, hey, Erin's clear-headed. She really puts out solutions. She even though she may not have a title or something, she's a leader in the room. Her voice speaks loudly. It's because I got rest and I ate, and I'm looking at y'all like the answer's right here. It's right here. Just calm down. The answer's right here. So those are some crisis management is truly a skill. Yes, it is. Remaining calm in a crisis is a skill. That might be one of the things that I'm going to add to my refueling station. So what's your snapback factor? Your snapback factor, are you a diamond or are you a rubber band? Diamonds may be hard, but they're not the strongest thing in the world. The strongest thing actually can withstand the weight, but it's actually malleable. Don't make me call the element name because I cannot remember it right now. But I'll use the rubber band and diamond analogy. Diamonds break. You can have this hard exterior. You say you're not changing. Diamonds have to be put in a setting. They have to be put in a ring. There are loose diamonds, but they're stored behind closed doors. But to be out and be seen and to be useful, you have to be like, it's stuck. It's stuck in one place. It's not at all flexible. So you can always say, hey, I'm so strong. I'm this, I'm that. But that means you have a hard coding. You cannot take feedback and criticism well. You cannot adapt to change. So any little change in your plans, you just throw up your hands and you just quit, which means you're not reaching success. You're not being consistent. You're not progressing toward the goal and you're stagnant. However, if you have the snapback of a rubber band, it means that you can be stretched by challenges, but you won't break. And once you're stretched and you let it go, you're going to be propelled further. So what's your snapback factor? Are you a rubber band or a diamond? And over the course of the year, you need to start thinking like a rubber band. It's okay. This is stretching me. I am learning new things about myself that I never learned before. And I am every night when I go to bed, I write things down about what did you learn today? What did you accomplish? And this process of me going in this transition of going into full-time entrepreneurship, I don't have all the answers. I'm being consistent. My business isn't where it is, but I know this is a stretching period. It's an adjustment period for me, but I can't stop here because I know what's on the other side of this. So learn how to be a rubber band, increase your snapback so you can have a very productive 2024, but also the January you and the December you won't be the same. And the December you is going to be one step closer to the person that you really want to be. But you have to increase your mental toughness and be like a rubber band. Well, thank you all for joining me. I'm right at my time. If you missed any part, you can always go back to the replay on my YouTube channel. If you're there, subscribe. I am building a little community over there, a large community. Let me change my phrase. Building a large community, YouTube community, so I can get more content out. And if you're joining me tomorrow on my Refueling Station Live, it is where I focus on burnout and leaders of color and making sure that they are thriving in and out of the workplace. I'm going to be joined by a very special guest, my former boss and colleague, Dr. Candace Jackson, and we're actually going to be discussing the latest tragedy that has happened in higher ed, of the passing or the suicide of a higher ed administrator due to toxic workplaces. And that's going to be a really important discussion. I'm not excited to have it, but it's something that I am passionate about because, of course, I've cut my teeth in higher ed for nearly a decade, and I've been in some really toxic places. So please tune in for that right here. I'll be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all of those places. And we're going to talk about when higher ed hurts and discussing toxic things on a very big level. I've been discussing it personally. If you find yourself in those places, how to get yourself out and together. But tomorrow we're going to have a broader picture of what we need to do to shift the cultures, not only in our HBCUs, but in our higher ed institutions, to make sure we are educating the next generation properly and we have the correct environment for those people who are doing the work and helping educate the next generation. So thank you so much for joining me. Share this with somebody, like it on my Facebook, share it on subscribe on YouTube, and I hope to see you here tomorrow at 1. Thank you.